5 clients who stiffed me on money. He stopped responding to me. I call and he added me to the blacklist. He showed where the pipe goes, showed where I need to make a connection to the pipe. And I write to him privately saying, listen friend, if you don't pay me, this is our correspondence. This is what happened. I did 3 or 4 projects with him, and on the last one, he didn't pay me in full. And when we went to make further payments, they were supposed to pay the entire sum. They found many reasons, completed all the finishing, freestanding, tap, meaning they did absolutely everything. He said, oh, you have to do this and that. I said, no, we don't have that in our contract. It was difficult for me, but I said, my goal is to complete the work 100%. I said, okay, we will break all this concrete. That's how I was scammed out of $14,000 literally 6 months ago. 5 clients who scammed me out of money. Today we will talk about this topic. Let's go. So, when I started my business, an acquaintance called me and said, there's a job, I don't have time, I can't do it, maybe you can do it. And it needed to be done. A remodel in a house. We were contractors. The company, what is called versus construction. We started doing the renovation work. I gave a price. We began doing everything there, redoing, passing inspections, everything we passed. It took a very long time, slowly, but I did the job. They partially paid me, and when we were going to continue the payment, they were supposed to pay the full amount. They found many reasons and said, we will not pay you that amount. And there was between 3,000 to 5,000. They just told me that they would not pay me, and that's it. Well, unfortunately, at that moment, I couldn't do anything about it. It was what it was. I even continued working with them for a while because I needed the job. And at one site, I just did underground. And there were problems, as if they didn't like anything. It was bad, and they were just looking for a reason not to pay. I said, okay, thank you, all the best, and I didn't work with them anymore. This was in the first year of my work. I worked with this company, and after that, I stopped working with them altogether. And this was the first time in America that I was cheated out of money when I had worked honestly. Then I was accused of I didn't do, and they needed to pay $20,000 for sewer replacement. I said, guys, what do I have to do with it? You told me to cut in here, cut in there. They called a person with a camera who checked, showed where the pipe goes, and showed where I needed to make the cut into the pipe. I did everything. Called the inspector, the inspection, we all came, and there were no questions about my work. And then the buyer came, found a problem with the sewage, and said it needed to be redone. They also blamed it all on me and said it was my fault. Even though I didn't understand anything about it at all. I was told, and I did exactly what I was told. It was very unpleasant. It was a lot of money for me. It was just astronomical money at that time. When I lived per month, I lived on $2,500 to $3,000. So it was actually my monthly, even more than my monthly earnings. They didn't pay me the full amount. It was very difficult. The next client, this is an interesting story, was a client who didn't want to pay me. The amount in question was $680. His name was Dave. He was involved in remodels. He lived in Chino Hills, but he took projects here in San Diego, various remodels. And I did one job for him, another job, and it was so difficult to get money from him. After one project, once I completed it, he stopped responding to me. I call, and he added me to the blacklist. But I had talked to him. He promised that he would pay, no issues with my work, but he didn't pay, and then put me on the blacklist. I went to his Facebook, found him on Facebook, and he was an influencer. He communicated with many people and was sort of like that positive person who taught other people, shared something, and was active on social media, even spoke as a speaker at various events. And I write to him in private saying, listen friend, if you don't pay me, here's our conversation, I laid everything out, here's what happened, what our agreement was, the fact that you didn't pay. If I'm wrong somewhere, please tell me, but if you don't pay me, I'll send friends. And I chose 10, 15 people who liked his post the most. And I sent him screenshots of these people saying that I would send them all this information, literally within 5 minutes. He calls me and asks where we can meet. 2 hours later, he arrived and gave me the money. So The question was how to get the money back without court, without legal proceedings, without anything. Social media, a very cool life hack for you. If you're interested, use it. The third client, I'm not upset with him. He also underpaid me by about $4,000. I stopped working with him, but I'm not upset with him at all. Because he was the contractor, the first contractor who started giving me work. And we worked together. I did with him 3 or 4 projects. And on the last one, he didn't pay me in full. So it was good training, good work. To give you an idea of my prices at that time, I was installing a shower faucet, shower valve maybe, for $100. So I charged $100 for the work. So those were roughly the prices I had. I was working very cheaply. We were doing 2 apartments. He was trying to save money. The client would come and he didn't like it. The work, he says, redo this, redo that, redo there. We redid everything, and in the end he presented all these complaints to me. Although there was something else with the tiles, he would say, oh, there, it's kind of bad, I can't, in short. And $4,000, he cut it for me. He wrote a check, but it was $4,000 less than it should have been. I'm not upset with him because it was a great experience. He was the first person who gave me a job, who believed in me. I went through it with her, I learned a lot, so I'm not upset with this person at all. So all the very best to our dear friend Tim, indeed. Fourth, it was very painful. It was $15,000, $18,000 that I was underpaid. With the changes that were made, the total contract value was $25,000. What were we doing there? It was built completely from scratch. A house with 5 bathrooms. It was a very complex modification. The gas line was 1.5 inches. We needed to extend it, although in the original, when I placed the bid, there was a different price, a different gas line. But the original plans were completely different. I spoke with the contractor, it was Jonathan Webster. He was the investor, and contractor was Real Construction, meaning it operated through Real Construction. I only received 2 checks, meaning I got paid for the underground and the top out, for the finish, retaining, and change orders. I received nothing. And that was about $18,000. Total costs, they completed the entire house for me. Work, materials, Tenkelsware, installed all the finish, freestanding tab, meaning they did absolutely everything. I received about $16,000. And we worked on it for a very long time, this house. It was under construction for almost a year. It was very delayed. And I had already installed all the finish, but they told me, oh, we didn't pass the inspection. We haven't passed the inspection yet. We're still finishing something. We didn't pass the inspection. And I was busy working, running around, dealing with various projects. I call him. He says, yes, let's do it later. Let's do it later. Not now, later. And then I arrive at the site. I take a look. And there, people have already moved in. They live there. They passed all the inspections. They completed everything. They already sold the house. And they promised me later. And they left me with an $18,000 loss. It was very painful in the first 2 years of business. I wouldn't recommend this to anyone. But I hope that he probably needed it more, and may God bless him. And we move on. We hold no grudges. And the 5th, it was $14,000. And this was about half a year ago. After that, we made some changes in our company. He said that so I didn't take his driver's license, nor did I take any of his information. It was, as he wrote, I signed it, what he told me. We started the work. I didn't even take any deposits. I always work with people honestly. I did the work. I do the work with 100% quality, and people settle with me at the end of the work. It was a bad option. We were changing the sewage system. We were doing pipe bursting, that is, we were doing 80 feet, well, pipe bursting, that is, they cut the garage, a lot of work was done, water was relocated. He said, oh, there you have to do this. So I said, no, we don't have that in the contract. He says, no, you are obliged to do it. And when I wasn't there, he forced my workers to do work that wasn't in the contract. He says, yes, it's not much, just do it. And he was constantly involved in such things. In the end, he started accusing me that when we were laying the pipe, the concrete was very old and all cracked. He says it shifted a little and now I need to redo the concrete. I tell him, look, we did this. It was there. It's old. It's all broken. We are adding photos and videos of this house and this work here. And I say, fine. It was hard for me, but I say, My goal is to do the job 100%. I say, okay, we will break all this concrete. We will pour new concrete completely free of charge without labor costs. So I put the guys to work. They started breaking it, but didn't finish. I say, look, it would be very good for you to replace the water line now, the main water line from the meter to the house, because new concrete will be poured here. And if something happens to it, you'll have to break it again. He called some people. I gave him a price. He didn't want it. He called other people. They stayed for a while and then left. Then he called people, and the concrete we were breaking is a small part left. The guys didn't have time. They didn't finish breaking it. He says, yes, you must come tomorrow and finish breaking the concrete. I say, when you get the water done, we'll come. Finish breaking the concrete and pour it all in one day. I don't have to do this at all. This is not part of the contract. I just want to be a good contractor who does his job 100%. He says, okay, well, come take everything and leave from here. We took all our belongings and departed from that place. Unfortunately, I tried to put a lien on the house, but I don't have his details, meaning his details and information are completely fabricated. Signed only via email, I had his approval. After that, all work over $5,000 we do exclusively through DocuSign or hard copy sign-in. So we don't do that anymore, so we can go and put a lien on the house and at least handle everything in such a case. So that's how I got scammed out of $14,000 just 6 months ago. So such situations also happen. Be careful, think ahead, and collect your earned money on time. And all the best. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, and share it with friends. And leave a comment whether bad or good, because it helps YouTube spread the video. It sees that you like it, people are writing something, and more people learn this information, and maybe it will be useful to someone. That's how we touched on money. These are just 5 points that I mentioned very quickly. But there have been many such situations. And in general, the amount for... In 8 years, I was not paid more than $100,000. So yes, until the next video.